Hello, this is Deborah Cohen with a story and a song, which airs every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Deborah Cohen again, and I am sharing some information that I've discovered that makes my musical spiritual journey really interesting. As a singer-songwriter, musician, and yoga teacher, I've often wondered, how can I combine those together, singing, sound, movement, for healings? Because I personally have experienced several healings as a singer during singing. I've discovered in trying to share this fact, for me it's a fact, with others, I've approached the teaching in a more spiritual way because that's how I've experienced my healings while pursuing God. But I seem to notice that it brings in a limited audience because a lot of people aren't interested in that path. And that's, no judgment. It's just we're all on different journeys here in this place called Earth. So I thought to myself, how can I appeal to people that need to improve their health, or like me, are senior citizens and want to stay healthy or get healthier? How can I appeal to singing and movement in a validated way based on research? So I've discovered these documents, had no idea until I started doing this research, that there's actually a master's that you can get in arts in medicine in Gainesville, Florida, actually. And I'm in Florida, so I'm going to scout this out. But if this interests you in pursuing music or singing or movement for your health in your community, then stay tuned and find a place to listen for the next 30 minutes. And I'll be right back after this message. Hello, this is Deborah Cohen Music, and I'm so glad that you took the time to listen to my podcast, A Story and a Song. It's about my life, to share some wisdom and some mistakes, hopefully that we can learn from together and laugh at, maybe, starting in the 80s in a new wave rock band in Boston with 2 singles that are still available on Spotify, Boston Nights and Dreamin'. And then on my worldly journey that we're all on, I morphed into a spiritually dominant being where I am a truth seeker and write songs of praise while having one foot in the world writing sync music. So listen up and share. And again, this is Deborah Cohen, and we're talking about pursuing health through the arts. Specifically, I have started, coincidentally, if you want to say that, 3 months ago. I've had this dream for a long time about community singing circles. And at the time I had this dream, there was no such thing where I've been. But then I noticed in looking for these things that were only ideas, there actually are singing circles, especially in cultural centers and synagogues. It's really popular, or getting popular. And I decided, with my rabbi's approval, to start a singing circle in our synagogue in Clearwater. Now, I've been operating or facilitating Soul Sing, is the name of my singing circle, for 3 months now. And I presented it to the community because it's open to anybody in Clearwater. I presented it as a spiritual experience, a mystical experience, because that's the way I've experienced. But in doing so, I realized that Other people, maybe they're uneasy or they're not spiritual. They don't want that dimension. It sounds woo-woo, if you want to say that. Whoa, that's kind of way out there, isn't it? She's out there on planet Claire, I think. But so I've been doing some research because, we are body, mind, and spirit beings. I thought I need to do more research on the physical reasons for wanting to sing and move, especially as we get older, like me. Debra Cohen, I'm a senior citizen in Florida. So I've discovered some fantastic information. I'm so excited about it. I just wanted to share it with you. It's a story in a song, which is the name of my podcast. And the story is real time. I'm sharing you a story, how you can get involved if you're in Clearwater and you want to explore your health benefits with a Jewish spin on it. Check us out. Just contact the CBS Synagogue and find out more. Or if you're interested in getting a master's in the arts of healing, the arts in healing, then apparently there's this thing called Masters in Arts in Medicine in Gainesville, Florida. So you can get a graduate or a master's degree. And the only reason I'm not thinking of doing that right now is I got too many irons in the fire. So I've contacted the Arts in Medicine in Gainesville University, and actually it's called the University of Florida, the department head, and asked if they could have an intern work with me in my singing circle to develop this as a community offering for people that want to use singing, music, movement, yoga, breathing, meditation as a method of health. Now, wait a minute. You might be saying to yourself at this point, wait, this sounds kind of hokey. I'm like, is that for real? Yes. Oh, let me share some things with you. All right. Listen and take notes if you want. For example, if I'm in my singing circle and I say, read these 2 poems and call me in the morning. Okay. I assume in the poetry world you know what this means. I'm not a poet, but I do write music, so I guess you could say maybe I am. Okay. Sound far-fetched? Doctors in Victorian England often prescribed specific poems or passages to address different forms of melancholia, which today we call it depression, right? Florence Nightingale wrote formally on the importance of attention to aesthetics to create the most healing environment possible for recovering patients. In fact, the concept of prescribing arts, culture, and nature goes back to at least ancient Egypt and presumably has its roots in ritual practice in prehistory. Wow. Oh, I just think this is so exciting. So what's the difference now in this article I'm reading? Evidence. We want evidence. If you want to come, I know some people are thinking about my singing circle. It's called Soul Sing. They're thinking, what evidence do you have that singing benefits my health? Okay. Since our 2019 report on the evidence base for the health benefits of the arts, which launched WHO's Arts and Health program to advance our understanding of neuroaesthetics and the biochemistry of aesthetic engagement, we are seeing how the arts can positively affect health. Thank you, Gazith Shoes on Instagram. We're talking about the arts for healing. All right. It helps. The arts can positively affect health, speed recovery, and importantly, find meaning in misfortune and celebrate moments of connection and joy. Because joy comes in a community. Having said this, it's important to put the complementary use of the arts in healthcare and public health into perspective. Can you imagine going to your doctor and asking for a prescription to my singing circle? I can imagine it. Okay. The evidence that the arts actually cure anything is scant, but the evidence that it helps us heal and thrive is abundant. This, to me, is a drawback of the use of the word prescribing, as it may suggest a misleading expectation of a cure. I'm not proclaiming a cure, I'm proclaiming better health. But health, according to the WHO's definition, is about more than the absence of disease or infirmity. It's about attaining the highest possible level of physical, mental, and social well-being. Who doesn't want that? Put it in the chat if you're saying, eh. Okay. That means you really need to be a part of this. Because a negative attitude, your body listens to everything you say. So if you're saying negative things, which is easy to do in this day and age with all of the media smut on the airwaves, if you start talking negative and bashing people, you're hurting yourself and everybody else that's listening to you. Similarly, our definition of mental health is not solely about the absence of mental illness, but all about helping us cope with the everyday stresses of life, raising our capabilities and skills, being more productive, and contributing to community and connection. And yes, celebrating moments of joy. Now, a lot of people out there, they cope by drinking alcohol, doing drugs because it's readily available. Been there, done that, so no judgment, just saying it's easy to go get some drugs and buy your gallon of whatever you're drinking. So, but there's a better way. Everything is balance, okay? This definition offers great hope when a cure is not in sight, as these goals are achievable and, when embodied in practice, serve as reminders that well-being is not defined by the absence of conditions or diagnoses. So if you're suffering with a chronic illness or, heaven forbid, cancer, you can still pursue better health in the midst of your suffering. And I understand the sufferings. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, I had several major illnesses years ago, and I was healed by singing in praise circles. So this is why my pursuit of healing with singing is on a spiritual dimension. But it doesn't have to be for yours. It can be secular, if that's what you want to say. Carl Jung once said that loneliness is not the absence of people, but the inability to express what matters to you most. Finding that expression with words, or when words fail, with a movement or a sound or the framing of an image, triggers biochemical responses that generate connection and pleasure and awe, and it helps us find meaning and perspective. This allows us to create a pathway when we may have felt the future was uncertain. Like, ever ask yourself, I'm going nowhere. I've been there. If you've listened to my previous podcast, I've even talked quite candidly about when I lived in Nashville and I hit the bottom and I didn't want to live anymore. I'm like, gosh, I just, is this it? I didn't have the courage to take my life, so I went to the doctors and blah-de-blah-de-blah. You'll have to go find the previous podcast so I don't repeat myself. Okay, incorporating such practices in evidence-based ways at community and institutional levels makes practical sense in a patient-centered approach that embraces the whole person and the communities we live in. As such, arts on prescription can play a positive role. One more paragraph, then I'll tell you the source. In fact, I would go further, says Christopher Bailey, who is the Arts and Health Lead of the World Health Organization. I just told you. Creative expression is not merely a mechanism to achieve better health. It is intrinsically part of our human nature, as fundamental as breathing and walking and speaking. And as such, it is a fundamental part of health. Because in the end, health is not about merely surviving. It is about thriving. Okay, I'm not just surviving. I am thriving. If you are thriving, write that in the chat box. And if you're not, well, I guess this podcast is for you. So let's see. You can download a PDF if you would like to start your own community. And as I mentioned, I've started one in Clearwater, Florida. So it's called a singing circle. And no, you do not have to have talent. You come because you're just discovering the unique sounds that your body makes and putting them in your human voice and sharing that intimacy in a group where you're not going to be made fun of, you're not going to be judged, and of course you don't want to make unpleasant sounds or smells, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so this is called Arts on Prescription, and it's put out by the MASS Cultural Council Center for Arts in Medicine, underwritten or at the University of Florida College of the Arts. So if you are a musical youngster, I started my music journey when I was 22, but they didn't have this available. So I just wanted to make a living as a musician, and the only option for me with dyslexia was, which means I say dyslexia because I couldn't, sheet music is, I can do one staff of music, but when you start adding a bass clef or whatever, I'm like, can't do it. Not with dyslexia. So I'm like, I couldn't teach in a university, even though I had the opportunity because of dyslexia. So I would have pursued this, arts and medicine, and you can actually do that now by contacting the University of Florida College of the Arts, and I believe they even have a master's in arts in medicine online. Whoa. I am like really excited about this, even though I'm not going to go to college, I don't think. I don't have enough time to do it, but I'd love to find an intern that would work with me to develop Soul Sing, my singing group. And so if you're listening and you happen to be like interested or looking for a place to do your student teaching or whatever they call it, here's the place. I've got a place for you. If you're, it's better if you're Jewish because a lot of our songs are in Hebrew. Okay, so I'm going to be right back with more information if you're still excited, and share a little bit more before we close this segment. Thank you for listening. I'll be right back.
Have you heard of Zion, where some still believe in God's name? His holy name is placed there in the Bible, in the heart of Jerusalem, and all the nations will know your peace.
And this is Debra Cohen again. Yeah, that's a little excerpt, a sneak peek of my upcoming song, Zion, because I decided in writing this song, which is inspired from the Bible, Zion is getting a bad rap, at least in the American culture. With the college kids, they're associating it with colonization and occupying regarding Israel, that's like a slang definition. The real definition of Zion is a synonym for Jerusalem. And it's going to be the return, if you believe in this spiritually, here I go with my spirituality again, the return of God to his land, Israel. But, so I'm just releasing this song. It should be out September 4th, 2024, to help people to know that there's actually a place in the Bible called Zion. So in that essence, I would say I'm a Zionist, but it's not, I'm not trying to separate people from Zionists versus the world. No, that's not it. Actually, a Zionist is anybody who respects the Bible, the Word of God, whether you're a Jew or a Christian or anybody that doesn't believe in God but reads the Bible, or whatever combination you are, acknowledges the right of Israel to exist. According to the Holy Bible, Zion is mentioned throughout the Bible, the Tanakh and the prophets. Isaiah mentions it. So a lot of people don't know that. So my lyrics for that song you just heard are to explain to the world what Zion is in the Bible, which I believe in. Okay. All right. So let me just share in closing a few specific health benefits for the arts in medicine. Creative health or arts in medicine display various ways in which arts can enable people to enjoy better health and quality of life. For chronic and long-term conditions, arts engagement can help with self-management of chronic and long-term conditions. And this comes from a public health briefing from the UK. So kudos to the UK for being so innovative. It's called Creative Health, okay? And it's put out by the APPG, All-Party Parliamentary Group on Arts, Health, and Well-Being. So, yeah, kudos to you, UK. Okay, for example, there is evidence that art therapies diminish the physical and psychological suffering of cancer and the side effects of its treatment. Studies have found that listening to music has beneficial effects on people with cardiovascular disease. Singing has been shown to alleviate chronic respiratory conditions and cystic fibrosis. The arts, including the culinary arts, have a positive impact on diabetes and its management. All right, next, another benefit. This interests me. Obesogenic environments. Whoa, that's a big word for fat. I got my mother's fat gene, and it didn't start to manifest itself till I hit my 60s. I'm like, man, it's just a battle of the bulge. So let's see what it says about that. The participatory arts have a contribution to make to overcoming childhood obesity, and the natural and built environments are crucial to health creation, as recognized by the Newcastle City Council's decision to invest £1 million of anti-obesity funding from the public health budget in city parks. Whoa. So I'm reading from an official documents per se. I downloaded it from the internet. And let's keep going. There's more benefits. Mental health. Okay. There is ample evidence that the arts help to overcome mental health problems. Arts on prescription programs can give rise to significant reductions in anxiety, depression, and stress. Yes. Also, the Alchemy Project in South London found that dancing alleviated the symptoms of mental ill health and the effects of medication while rebalancing the mind-body relationship. Next, aging well. I'm interested in that. Are you? There is evidence that the arts have a part to play in healthy aging. For example, dance helps to prevent falls in older adults, with classes around the country proving both popular and effective. Arts engagement can boost brain function and improve the recall of a personal memory. It can also enhance the quality of life of people with dementia and their careers. In dementia care, color, reflection, and shadow can have an impact on mood and lead to better nutrition, hydration, and engagement. And one more before we close. Thank you for listening, by the way. Health inequalities, another big one in this world. Engagement with the arts can play a role in mitigating health inequalities. Evidence has shown that engagement with the arts can influence maternal nutrition, perinatal mental health, and childhood development, shape educational and employment opportunities, and tackle chronic distress, enable self-expression and empowerment, and help to overcome social isolation, and prevent illness and infirmity from developing or worsening. And if you're interested, if you're in the UK and you want more information, just contact the APPG and ask about creative health. So again, this is Debra Cohen. I thank you for listening. I hope you found something in this podcast that is interesting to you and your people. So please share this podcast with your people, because as I discover more about this, I will be talking more about it. And don't forget, if you're in Clearwater, let's see, point this way. No, dyslexia. If you're viewing this, I'm like trying to find that. Okay, the logo. Yeah, you can look me up in Clearwater. And if you know anybody, if you have a friend that writes publications or publishes community information, please turn them on to this information, because I'd love to be interviewed about this in Clearwater, Florida. Okay? You can reach my email, info@debracohenmusic.com. Again, if you're scurrying for your pen, info@Debra, Debra, Cohen, Cohen, music.com. Thank you for listening. I hope to see you again here next Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to check out my merch. I have band merch, which is another way I'm surviving as a musician. Band merch, not only on Redbubble, for those of you that are Redbubble fans, but also on Amazon. You can go to Amazon and look for my artist profile, Debra Cohen Music. And once you find the music, yes, you can buy the music there, but please write a good review, please. Scroll down to the bottom of my artist profile page. You'll see my merch. Yes, merch, music, movement. What else do you want? The 3 M's. Okay. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Time to start the blame game. It's a hot matter. So get it right. To live by logic. Unleashing feelings, causing all the trouble. The world is full of bots. Passionless honey. No emotional IQ. No emotional IQ. It advises blend together in unity. We were there and you are now. Let me walk in peace. Hi, I am Debra Cohen, posing as a lion for Zion, with a message for everybody. To tell you that Zion has more than one meaning in 2024. But in the Bible, the Holy Bible, that Zion is only one meaning. It's a synonym for Jerusalem. It's the place where God's holy name is placed, Hamakom in Hebrew. And we will all know the Messiah when he comes to Zion. So I'm writing a song to help people to know that Zion is not a bad place, unless you make it that way. So I'm working in my recording studio, and it's kind of bluesy. You can let me know what you think. You can't hear the guitar though, because it's in my earphone. Have you heard about Zion? His holy name is placed there. It's in Jerusalem. It's a holy place called Zion. I have been there to this kingdom, on that holy mountain Zion. We are waiting for Messiah to come rescue his people. Ooh. Hallelujah.